with it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because we look
There we
like
go.
we are very contrast right now. I have the
Oh,
white
very
shirt and you are
good.
in a black tee.
Hey, we like to say everything in black and white, Hazel.
Yes. All right. Hey everyone.
Hey,
Welcome
everybody.
welcome back to our live stream. All right. Let's see. If yeah, I think it looks better now.
I think it looks great.
Okay. Cool. All right, everyone. Welcome back to our live stream today. Yes. All right. So let's
I can hear
just
the
wait a
excitement from
bit.
Hazel.
All right. So let's just wait a bit for everyone to get in.
Take all the time you need. That's why we're here. We're here for you, not for ourselves.
Yes. And yeah, as we have mentioned it in our previous live stream, we have like a lot of new things coming. And Cathal is like the very key person who is in charge of our next big moves. So here we are again. And I
And
think
Hazel, thank you so much.
yes. And I think people are getting like quite familiar with the show off of you, Cathal. So yeah, please say hi again to our community.
Hey, everybody. Just want to say it's great to be here. Once again, I've seen a lot of the great stuff that's been happening with Metastrike behind the scenes. It's really good to be part of it. It's really good to see it as it progresses through the motions. So, as it went from being one individual video game to a variety of different video games, it's really encouraging to see. And it's fantastic to see and witness and experience the progress that is being made. And
Yes.
that's what really inspires the confidence. And that's really what has kicked off the upbeat sentiment of late.
Yeah. Ooh, oh, I'm so excited about it. All right. So actually, the topic of our live stream today is called the next big moves, featuring new faces. But yeah, actually, Cathal is not so new anymore. So guys,
Not
please
so new.
yeah, like ask any questions that that you would love to know about Cathal. Like he's gonna be familiar here. All right.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's why I'm here. And if you need me to make a self introduction, I'm more than happy to do so.
Yeah. All right. So we launched our post like introducing our new members, new core members, and Cathal is one of them. And here we are again to walk you through every of our next big moves in our plans with to develop Metastrike in the upcoming time. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I guess that people are pretty much ready for our talk today. So let's kind of warm up our live stream a little bit. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that I asked you to introduce yourself in our previous live stream, but can you like introduce yourself a little bit like more clearly about your role and like about like why you are here, what like about your appearance in this live stream in like the whole journey?
Absolutely. And that's why I'm really happy to get involved. I'm really excited about everything. But I think it's important to be able to give people a broad overview of why. Why is this change happening? Why have I gotten involved? And why exactly are we undertaking this strategic pivot? So these are a variety of questions that are important to go through. And I believe that right now we're in a position where we need to be able to talk about it in far greater detail, what it involves, what it entails, and what it will mean in the medium to long term view of the project. So, first and foremost, I think it's important to explain my background in virtual currency, digital assets, and give kind of a longitudinal overview of what that meant. So I'm originally from Ireland. I actually started my digital and alternative banking journey back in 2015. So not quite an OG, which I classify as earlier than 2013, but nevertheless, I've been involved since approximately 2015. And in that sense, I helped establish one of Hong Kong's very first remittance e-wallets. At that point, e-wallets were very popular in China, but were not so popular in Hong Kong. And we felt that actually there was a very good use case to actually bring e-wallets to Hong Kong at that moment in time. and to actually digitize the Hong Kong financial scene. That was a big part of what we were doing at that moment in time. But what happened next was we actually decided to do our strategic pivot at that moment in time. Now, at that moment in time, we pivoted towards actually using cryptocurrency instead of correspondent banks. And what that effectively meant was instead of going through the SWIFT system, what we did, which is actually very expensive, and it doesn't actually involve the transfer of money. It's more like a messaging service. So what we did was, instead of doing this, why don't we actually settle locally? Because we have all the relevant licenses, we're able to accept money in Hong Kong, and we have the ability to be able to send money at much lower rates than any existing company like Western Union, Sawana, or any of those. So we actually had the capacity to do it at a much earlier stage. So we were very fortunate to have been early adopters, and we actually had licenses from the Philippine Central Bank and a variety of other institutions. So we had customers. Actually, have you ever heard of the Philippine boxer Manny Pacquiao?
I have not actually though.
Okay, he was a world champion at one stage. He was one of our customers at that point in time, the most famous Filipino out there, actually. So after that, I did that until approximately 2021.
Mm.
And in that sense, we worked with some of the biggest names in the remittance and the financial space. So actually, I'm more of a conventional financial guy by trade. But really, it was helping start a derivatives exchange in 2021. I was invited by a VC in order to help make that happen, which I subsequently left in around November, December 2022. And one of the reasons I left at that moment in time, after we did quite well for a period of time, was because I felt that having not been in control of the product and having not overseen a large amount of the development that was taking place, there were a number of frustrations. And I took a bit of a break after that.
Mm.
And I was actually approached by a number of different projects, believe it or not, at that moment in time, asking me to either start a project or take over a project. But actually, what happened was I got to know Peter actually through a mutual friend. And I was very fortunate in that he made the introduction and we got talking. And I could see a number of different things. So, Peter Nguyen being the CEO of Metastrike. And what he did was he explained the strategy and the vision and how he wanted to bring Metastrike to the next level. And that was something that was really exciting for me because I was thinking, this is a game, it's got a community, it's a leading game studio. And I was thinking, they're so close to Mainnet. They're listed on two exchanges, Gate.io and KuCoin. I was thinking to myself, these guys have so much going for them. So I thought to myself, why not bring this further? Why not actually add more to the game? And as soon as we sat down and discussed the strategy, everyone got on board. And that was one of the most exciting things to see. So that's something that we'll be going over during the course of this live stream. So feel free to ask at any stage. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's messaging. So Candace Simpson, thank you so much. Hi, Ihana, thank you very much for wishing us a nice day. And Anderson, thank you so much for messaging the group. It really means a lot. And like I said, if there's anything, just type in a comment and I'll get back to you during this live stream. So don't worry. Okay?
Yeah,
Positive,
sure.
because even if it's negative, we need to listen. Okay?
Yeah, sure. That is what we have been doing for a long, long while. We accept every feedback from the community users, and we try to explain that, to answer that, to respond to you guys with the clearest answer. And here we are with Cathal, and he will definitely explain everything in this live stream. All right. So I was very curious. I mean, like I have not heard the story of how you met Peter and how you like first heard about
Absolutely.
Metastrike, but I mean, like back at the time, Peter was like did not really have that very long history with blockchain and GameFi and stuff. So what about him? What about his background that made you like really believe in our project so far until
It's a
now?
development. It's a
Mm.
development. And
Yeah.
he worked with some of the biggest names in gaming. Let me tell
Yes.
you. genuinely worked with some of the biggest names out there. And as soon as I started to get involved, and as soon as I started to see what exactly Peter wanted to do with the project, because I felt that ultimately execution was the key. Because a lot of people have the ability to talk, but when you move beyond talking and you move towards execution, it's a different story entirely. And to be a leader, you need to be able to execute. You need to have a vision, you need to bring it to market, and you need to deliver on your promises. Now, I felt that Peter was actually capable of doing all that. So, actually, that inspired a lot of confidence. He communicated what his game studio was capable of doing. And I just realized, well, look, you guys have the gaming ability. We can bring in a team that is actually able to bring it to market. And in many ways, it was a very good marriage in that sense, in that we were able to bring together two visions, two skill sets, and subsequently execute according to that. And that's really one of the things that excited me the most about doing this.
Yes, definitely. I mean, like I was first impressed with him, with Peter, about everything that you have just mentioned. I mean, like, uh, I have to say this, but like in reality, you cannot ever think that Peter will be like that very big CEO with such big vision because he was so friendly. But I mean, like his manners at work, his attitudes, and everything that he says is so, how can I say, like convinced me and convinced the whole team to like join him, to be a great team, to lead the game, to like lead the market and everything. So yeah, we really look forward to a better future for Metastrike. um so yeah, talking about Metastrike, can you like I well, it's not a sneak peek anymore, but can you tell me more about the new plan and like the updated white paper of Metastrike and the new
Absolutely.
strategy?
So this was announced on Monday, and this was one of the things that we were very excited about bringing to the wider audience and bringing to the market. Because what we have seen in the last few months, or the last 2 years really, is basically that the GameFi ideal, which is generally one game, one token, while it's good at its core principles, it has its limitations. And what you want to do is actually move beyond that. And the whole purpose of a utility token is that it has utility, that it can be used. So, as far as we saw it at that moment in time, we said to ourselves, well, look, why don't we actually add more to what's currently there? Because you've got a really skilled gaming development company. And of course, you have some very good marketers. So, what we thought was, you guys have a lot of games. You guys are able to convert Web 2 to Web 3 games. You guys have the capacity and the capability of actually launching products that can be monetized. So just imagine this. Two teams are playing in esports. You don't know which side you're betting on. It's like Baccarat in many different ways. And they're competing against each other. So you take a position. So you're actually able to take an actual position on what the outcome of that game will be. So that's one of the things. So it's like placing a wager on what exactly is happening without really knowing who is behind it. So that's really one of the exciting things about it. As well as that, there will be a huge variety of other things coming in. So there'll be a lot of things related to probability, a lot of things related to predictions, and this is going to be really exciting. So there's going to be a full-on iGaming suite incorporated into the Metastrike game. There's going to be a game launcher, which means that basically converting Web 2 to Web 3 games and actually giving other companies the ability to raise using the Metastrike platform. So Metastrike won't just be an actual game. It will
Yeah,
also
so
be
I
a
can see that there are a lot of triggers here.
absolutely. And on top of that, there's also going to be the continuation and development of further esports and tournaments. Because what we've seen so far, the tournaments and the esports have been ultra popular. And what we think at this moment in time is that with the continuation of this, that it could be a very good direction for the Metastrike project to move in, as well as adding more utility to MTS, because we know that it's all about adding new features, adding new utility to the token, and making sure that it can be used in game. And that's something, and trust me, I see this in the background, that basically is an ongoing development, and it's really exciting to see.
Good. Oh, very nice. Wait, I'm sorry, but hi, ahihi, ihaha. Yeah,
So
we
see, did
actually,
I see the comment?
yeah.
So what's the project main target, sir? And it's very much like Candace's comment, so that I'll answer both of them at the same time. So a hee hee or a hi hi. The first question to answer there is basically, what is the main target market? Well, the target market will naturally be the same. It'll be gamers, people who are looking basically to be able to have a very good, entertaining gaming experience on an online platform, either through mobile, Steam, or computer. That's basically the target market, and that will remain unchanged. But what we also want to do is actually stimulate a certain degree of fun and gamification into the platform. Even though it is a game, further gamification can also be done. So why not add an esports side, an iGaming side, where people can actually use their MTS tokens to take positions? And that's one of the exciting things. So, for example, Avocado DAO, APAC DAO, any of these guys, they can be playing each other. You don't know who the winner is going to be. And that's really what's exciting here. So these are the things we want to be able to do in the new platform as it moves forward. So it's about boosting participation, it's about boosting utility, and making sure that a variety of other communities can get involved. Ideally of gamers, ideally of blockchain and Web3 natives, to be able to drive it forward. And that's really what we're excited about.
Yes. All right.
And this one is next milestone. So the next milestone, Candace is going to be moving towards mainnet, and that should happen around October 2023. Now, there'll be further developments after it, but the next big priority is going to be mainnet. And that's something that we'll continuously work towards.
All right. So talk about the minute. What is the biggest difference? What is the biggest improvement that that you think our community can expect and look forward from Metastrike?
So recently moved towards testnet, and the real big thing is that there'll be new features added in. And this is something that we'll be covering in a later live stream closer to the actual date. Because ultimately, it's about making sure that these things are delivered, that they're not just promises, but that they've already been delivered. And I want to make sure that in the final version, all these are included. So you're going to have a full expanded game. You're going to have more utility, more features actually being built in. But of course, we want to share a bit more, a little bit closer to the actual go live date and the full migration to mainnet. Now, we've had the question, when will MTS go to the moon? I wouldn't speculate on token price, because actually it's not really our place to do that. What I will do is talk about utility, however. And with greater utility, it can help influence price movement. So it's all about really just adding value to MTS. And with the addition of value to the MTS token, things happen. And that's really what we're excited about doing, making sure that we can just continue to make sure that MTS has its clear functionality. And that's really what we're excited about. And Alpha Zeta just asked about what new games.
Yeah.
So Alpha Zeta 1248. What you might know is that the full team at Metastrike, they're actually a game development studio. And they've worked with some of the biggest names out there, like Ubisoft and a variety of others. So they're not a small company. They're actually a company that's very highly regarded within the industry. And they've actually got a variety of other games that they plan on bringing to the platform, as well as Metastrike. So that will be known as a MTSL, or Metastrike Launch Protocol. And that's what we're excited about bringing. All right. So they'll be announced closer to the date, but that's just to share a little bit more there. So feel free to keep those questions coming, because that's why we're here. We're here to be able to consistently answer questions and to be able to respond to feedback given by the community. All right, over to you, Hazel.
Yes. So yeah, like the whole Metastrike team, we have mentioned it a lot of times before that we are based as like a web like traditional game company. So we have our like CEO has a lot of ideas in his mind. It is just about like the right timing for us to like release everything so that you guys can engage with us a little bit more. All right. And like by with your engagement, with your curiosity, and with your support, I believe that MTS can definitely, people say go to the moon. All right. so how
Thank
do you
you.
think? Yes, that is true. But how do you think all these moves are gonna like bring more utility to Metastrike, to
Absolutely.
MTS
So when you think
actually?
about
Yeah.
it, absolutely. So when you think about it, first and foremost, how do you actually take positions within the Metastrike platform? Just say there's an esports tournament happening. How will you take positions?
Uh, what do you
It's
mean
like,
by?
all right? So you basically have to use your MTS token in order to make that happen. And this is one of the things that's really exciting about this, that actually you're able to use your MTS tokens to be able to take positions. And that's one of the things we're excited about bringing to the platform. So within the game as well, wins and losses will actually be settled through the MTS token. And that's another thing that we're really excited about bringing. Beyond that, we're talking about the actual launcher protocol. So there's going to be a threefold utility there. Number one, it's going to be related to the actual gaming studios. So if they're a gaming studio, are they able to, for example, get greater privileges or get greater benefits based on their holdings of the MTS tokens? This will also include staked tokens, by the way, so don't worry about that. In addition to that, for a user or a gamer, are they capable of actually, we'll say, getting early access and a variety of other things to the new games and the new releases? And Alpha Zeta 1248 is just asked once again, will there be governance utility? The whole point of MTS in the first place was to be a governance token. And there will, of course, be the launch of a DAO. We believe in 2024. It won't be straight away. DAOs take a bit of time to implement, but we do believe that actually with the right governing structure in place, that there will be adequate governance utility, meaning that basically the community will be able to vote and decide on the future movement of the product moving forward. So really appreciate those questions, Alpha Zeta. And beyond that, there's also going to be the esports side. So naturally, within the game, you'll be able to purchase NFTs and various weapons using the actual MTS tokens. Now, will play to earn be the model moving forward? I personally do not believe that play to earn is the way forward. I believe that actually it should be better than that, and that with the new features, that it can be made substantially better, and that value can really be brought to people who have supported the project and have worked tirelessly to actually test and, like I said before, promote. And that's really where we have to express our heartfelt gratitude there.
All right. So, we have been like talking a lot about like our MTS token. So, I also have a question about like how do you plan to balance the utility of the in-game token and MTS, or the MTT and MTS.
Absolutely, absolutely. So MTT is basically the internal settlement mechanism, which is really cool to see. And of course, the MTS will actually move beyond that. What we believe, though, is that MTS can play a far more prominent role within the actual project itself. And that's really what we want to be able to do. We want to be able to bring the project and bring MTS to a new level of prominence, where it can actually be regarded as a top tier project rather than a project with boundless potential. Metastrike has always been regarded as a project with enormous potential, but it's all about delivering on that potential. And really, it's about making sure that in the grand scheme of things, that this value can actually be brought back to the end user. And that's really what we want to be capable of doing.
All right, cool. All right. So, with the whole, not with the whole new team, but like with the new members added to the team, how do you think like the team can deliver that with like we deliver the potentials of Metastrike and make everyone aware of that?
Absolutely. So there are a few key things to consider. What are the Metastrike team capable of doing? And what have they been proving themselves all along to be very adept at doing? Have a guess. Development, design, artwork, gamification. These are their strengths. They're well capable of doing the delivery side. Where I think they need a little bit more work, and this is where we're coming in, is actually user acquisition, marketing, and promotion. So, for example, how can you actually onboard a greater number of users, a greater number of gamers, and actually add greater utility to the MTS token? That's really why we've gotten involved. So if you look at the designer, for example, he worked on one of the hottest games out there, Poker Fantasy, one of the hottest games of the GameFi boom, and he helped design quite a lot of it. So we were very fortunate to have him. Our Chief User Acquisition Officer, he'll be announced in the near future. He has brought a number of active users to a variety of different platforms. And we're not just talking about users like vanity metrics. Users are only users if they do something. So do they participate and do they help drive business towards the platform itself? This guy's done it, and in one country, with his old trading platform, in one day, in one country named Vietnam, he brought in 125 million USD in trading volume. That's what he's capable of doing. Very strong person at doing what he does. And that's where we think we're in a very fortunate position, because you have a very strong design team, marketing team, user acquisition team, as well as the leadership board, C-level board. And that's where we believe that we're capable of really driving results and making sure that sought after outcomes can be achieved.
Yes. All right. I just want to add a little bit to that, to your answer.
Absolutely.
Uh, I mean, like every game project they mentions about like, I mean, like game design, game development, and user acquisition. Those are actually every details that every project mentions. So we also want to like talk more about like our perseverance in this industry. We have been here for about like probably over 2 years, and we're still doing it. We are like putting nonstop effort into that, and like and also consider our background as like a traditional game company with more than 10 years of experience, and that is what we are like stand strong for. We have like our knowledge, we have our skills, we have our strategies with like such a strong team with the lead of Cathal. And yeah, please do believe that we can actually make it like with actually with the support of our users of our community. You as well. All right. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it about our development plan in the upcoming time. All right. And yeah, I think I will look at some of the questions right here. Yeah. All right. So I will give our users some time to like really put their curiosity forward. Yeah. Can I also want to ask you more about like our updated white paper. There
Absolutely.
have
Go
been
first.
have been a lot of like updated changes to the content of our white paper. So what do you think is the key point, the most outstanding
Emphasis,
change in that?
emphasis on revenue. That's the main thing. Because what does every project seek to do? Become self-supporting. That's really the key thing. So what's capable of driving further revenue to the Metastrike platform? It's naturally going to be revenue, positive movements. So that's really one of the main things we've emphasized throughout the publication of this white paper and throughout the drafting process. It's about reassuring and making sure that the community knows this is something that is being taken very seriously and is something that can be delivered. It's about consistently making sure that the message is reiterated. And when you do that, when you talk to the community, it's super important to make sure that delivery is a key point of emphasis, because the two things tie together: revenue generation as well as delivery. And that's what we believe is the future moving forward. And I do have a large degree of confidence in Peter and the rest of the team that this can be delivered. And it's a really exciting time. It's something that I firmly believe in. I do believe that Peter and the team are very adept and very strong at what they do, very capable individuals. And when you look at that, you take it all together, I do firmly believe that Metastrike could have a very bright future.
All right. That's a great answer. But oh yeah, I've had just thought of this idea. I mean, like everyone has been talking a lot about like the market, the downtrend of the market. So do you actually plan and like do something to make Metastrike as a very how can I say independent project, independent website project that will not be seriously affected by the situation of the market?
Ultimately, that's what every project seeks to do. They always seem to become a standalone successful project. That's really what every project aspires to achieve. Now, very few do that because it's largely based on FOMO and hype. Now, I believe that for blockchain and cryptocurrency to gain mass adoption moving forward, that one thing needs to be done. The hype cycle needs to be broken. And games and projects need to become capable of surviving independently without constantly having to seek funding. Because my main criticism of the blockchain industry as things currently stand is that there are a lot of cash grabs and a lot of companies that are consistently just looking to constantly raise and raise and raise. So, for example, with one of my old companies, with the board of directors, I'll just give this as an example. We raised
Okay.
4.1 million US dollars. 4.1 million. Do you want to know what the board of directors said to me the day after we closed the raise? How do
Um.
we how do we do equity?
Oh,
That
okay.
was the question. So, for example, this sentiment needs to die, because I firmly believe that games need to be profitable. Games need to be capable of driving revenue positive results to both the community and the project itself. So we've asked questions: is it possible to get more airdrops and events? There will certainly be more events, and there will certainly be airdrops too. We won't just be doing blind airdrops, because that's something that the project, let's be honest, we know what happens with airdrops. In a lot of cases, people get the tokens, dump the tokens. What we want to do is actually move beyond that and actually reward people with tokens for completing different activities. And that's really one of the things we want to emphasize. It's about support both ways, that the community can support the project and the project can reward the community for their support. That's
Yes.
really what we want to do.
Yes, yes. I mean, like, to be honest, in the past, I always thought of like making, like, doing airdrops with the reward of like tokens. Actually, kind of like spoiled our users. I really thought so, but now with like more, I mean, like, yeah, I was naive at the time, but like, with more utility and more features being added to Metastrike, we actually believe that token rewards will be um more useful, more helpful. They have like true utility, and that will be like our long term incentives for all of our users in the community. All right, so
Absolutely.
please stay tuned.
Really.
Yes, it can happen anytime, so you have to like watch it out. All right, okay. So like on behalf of all the board of directors, do you actually have anything to like just talk to our community to make them like you know stand uh stand stronger for everything that's going to happen?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, look, we know that gamification and GameFi has actually experienced its fair share of challenges, and nobody is more aware of this than we are. We want to make sure that overall, in the grand scheme of things, value is delivered to the community. A lot of GameFi projects were actually started by people without experience in gaming. And that was a big problem because not only did they want to start a project, they didn't have the tools to deliver on those projects. Now, what we believe at this moment in time is actually that with the game studio, the possibility is there and the capability is there to be able to deliver on all this as a whole. And that's really what's exciting about this. The roadmap is there, the vision is there, the steps are there. It's about making sure that number one, emphasis is added on bringing value to token holders and that they're really able to get the most out of their MTS tokens. It's also about making sure that the game is really a top level game. Now, when you look at the fact that Peter and his studio have actually worked with the lead gaming developers out there, there's a lot to be excited about. And that's really what we see, that there's so much that has been done, so much that can be delivered, and so much utility that can be added to the token. And that's why I can see this being a really exciting project with unstated potential. And that's really what we're excited about.
Yes. All right. So, I guess this will be our last question for tonight. Will there be like other triple A games in the future in our communities, within our ecosystem?
And I love that he's mentioned RPG games because I've recently finished The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which is one of the best games I've ever played. I didn't think you could get any better than Breath of the Wild. They somehow outdid themselves. So really, that's one of the things that I want to happen. It'll be in constant development, and it won't just be a game here, a game there. It'll be something that's in constant development. And we mentioned constantly, it's not just going to be one game, one token, but more so multiple games, one token. And just imagine that consistent utility being added. And Ducky Momo just added how to maximize the MTS within the game. So naturally, that will be utilized in a number of different ways. It's something we spoke about earlier in the live stream, but just to recap a little bit, actually play to win. That's a more
Yes.
common, that's
Yes.
something that I have to
That's
say.
yeah.
Play to win. And Alpha, I was about to go on a 5 minute explanation, but actually Alpha Zeta 1248 has actually
Yes.
emphasized play to win. And that's the core message. Not play to earn, but play to win.
Yes.
It's about tournaments. It's about esports. It's about consistently bringing the gamers to the community. And that's the core emphasis.
Yes, that is what I have always like been saying to myself. Just, I mean, like play to play, plays to enjoy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything that we want to like deliver to you guys.
Let's just
And
make
yeah,
more skins, please. You're guaranteed of that. Don't you worry.
skins of terrorists, ugly.
Ooh.
Oh no, I actually prefer the skin of the terrorist more than the skin of the police side. To be honest, my opinion. Yeah. All right. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us in the live stream today. Thank you, Cathal, for being here for explaining everything in this AMA. And yes, we look forward to so much more change in the future with the development of Metastrike and with the ongoing process of our tournament right now. All right. And yeah, collab with Game Deals, definitely. We are right now.
Oh, there's
Yes,
going to be much more as well.
yes, yes.
Consistent development, consistent outreach. There's a lot of work going on in the background.
Yes, yes. All right. And yeah, once again, thank you guys very much for joining us today. And I wish you, Cathal, and the whole community a very, very good night. And yeah, see
All
you
the
in
best,
our
guys.
upcoming live streams. All right.
Can't wait. You
Goodbye.
guys have a great one. All right. Bye now.
Yes. Bye now.